Hi everyone, Natasha here, and around my home today I am in my office. The sun is finally peeking out. We had a beautiful start to the morning. It is Sunday and I've been hard at work this weekend. We had the Jordan Essentials new spring and summer catalog launch yesterday morning, and ever since I got home from that, I've just been motivated and driven to get my house cleaned up and back in order as we reset for a new month. And of course, along with that, I need to reset my planner. And as you can see, it's so full right now because I have 2 months in there. January is still in there. So we're going to talk about how January went in my planner and then work on cleaning that out and setting that stuff in storage, and then working on setting up a little more for the month of February. So stay tuned for that, and welcome to my office. Welcome back to my home. I'm so glad you're joining me today for another planner video up here in my office. So as I mentioned, we had a really fun start to the weekend with the Jordan Essentials Spring and Summer Catalog launch yesterday morning. So my Jordan bestie, Sarah, and I got in the car and headed off to our local uplines house, and we had a nice gathering of Jordies from all over this metro area. And it was really fun to be able to watch the launch live and get to try all the new products and smell the new scent. I'm definitely in love with the new Copa Calm scent, so I'll have some information linked about that below in case you're interested. But also, it's been a really kind of up and down month of January. I don't know how your start to the year has gone. I never have high expectations. I do feel like I have that pull to slow down and rest during the winter months, and January especially, as we come down from the busy holiday season. I always feel like I just need some recuperation time, and it's cold and it's dark and the days are short, so I don't mind at all that I just want to like huddle up and stay at home. But we've also had just some things in our community, some things in our family, up and down. I've had some really wonderful growth here on my YouTube channel this month, which has been very exciting, but I've also had just some personal struggles. I don't know about you, but when the days are short and it's dark, I don't find myself very motivated to keep up with all the projects and the cleaning and everything. I sort of just maintain and kind of keep going. So finally, as we ended January and started February, I felt like the sun was coming out more and my energy was returning a little bit. So this weekend, it felt really good to finally tackle some of the piles and some of the deeper collections of things that I just hadn't dealt with and get those taken care of. I feel like I'm going into the month of February with a little bit of a clean slate, a fresh attitude. I'm ready to just start the month and see how it goes, but be kind to myself. And I've kind of given myself the gift of cleaning up the spaces a little bit around our home so that it's not so overwhelming when I walk in. I don't walk into each room and see the 20 things that I need to be doing. I have eliminated a few of those, so that's a really good amount of progress. So we're going to turn the camera in just a minute and I'll flip through my January pages. You can see how that went, and then I'll talk about some of the February setup as well. I'm excited, of course, to have my new Jane's Agenda inserts and dashboards and cover. That always makes me feel like I'm really refreshing things in my planner when I can make it look a little new and different each month with the subscription box elements that I add to it. So let's take a look. So here we have my Discbound planner. This is in the classic size, and the majority of my inserts and the dividers and things like that are all Jane's Agenda. This outer cover is from Live Love Posh, so I will link that below as well in case you're interested in that. I really prefer this kind of a cover right now in this phase of life because I want to be able to fold my planner back on itself and have it only take up this much space on my desk. So I'm also loving it because it kind of protects my Jane's Agenda cover that goes in here. These are sturdy enough they can function as your outer cover, no problem, but I just like that when I open it, it's this really clean and beautiful cover on the inside. And as you can see, I have updated some things in here. I swapped out my little quote card here, and I decided just to put a few little dots of some sticky tack behind there because I wanted to be able to read this quote, but if I tuck it too far into the pocket, it's all covered up. And then these are the 2 cards that came in the February deluxe subscription box from Jane's Agenda, and I just tucked those in there partly because I thought this was a beautiful image, and then I like some of what they talked about in the thank you card here where it was sort of giving you the theme for the month and resetting and going within a little bit and sort of reevaluating what is working and what isn't. So I went with this, of course, the outer cover that says it takes strength to bloom. And then I went with the peonies underneath of that. I just think that's beautiful. I have peonies growing in my yard. Some years they bloom better than others. I'm still a novice at raising them, so I'm not doing that great of a job, but I love it when they bloom. They're so beautiful and they smell wonderful. So this was a perfect cover for me to choose this month. And there aren't a whole lot of changes in the front. I think the only thing I wanted to show you is basically in my routine section. So I have my weekly cleaning checklist, but this is actually more of a routines checklist. And as you can see, I thought I was going to use it this past week and I didn't, but I just used my erasable friction pen to fill that out. So I'll just erase that and try again for this week. As I said, I'm just working on trying to get better at some of these systems, but I'm also just giving myself some grace that it was a month of ups and downs and a lot going on. I had a lot of hours that I put in with one of my jobs, and so it just, is what it is when it's all said and done. What I've added is a couple of things. So I'll link below the video that Jane did on Jane's Agenda recently, talking about a monthly planner reset. And as part of that blog post, she had this freebie, which is a monthly planner reset checklist. So I'm going to be using that as I finish setting up for this new month. And before I got to watching that video and seeing that, I was already kind of thinking and feeling like I needed some sort of a reset for my monthly routines. And I came up with this version that I did just on Canva. And I left all the spots blank and just hand wrote in what I thought I wanted to put in there because I want to kind of develop this over the next couple of months. I felt like I needed one part just talking about how to reset my planner, which now that I have this Jane's Agenda checklist, that may take care of that. But I also have things I do around my home and things to do with my Jordan Essentials business and just other kind of random things that I wanted to capture here as well. So in using this top tab system where I'm using this each morning to just check in with all these different sections of my planner, which that is all still working well. It just helps me know where to find these important sections of my planner. Plus in the morning, I don't always get through all of them, but I know which ones I want to touch for sure. And then there's others that are like bonus. If I get to that, that's great. And that just having that whole system laid out has really been working well. So I have that I've added to the planner. And then this was a blank page I had originally tucked in here thinking I was going to jot down notes about the monthly reset. And I ended up just jumping on Canva and doing it there. And then as part of my reset for the new month, I went ahead and printed out extra of these weekly checklist pages because I found midway through the month when things were getting really busy, I didn't have time to go in and reprint these. And so then it was like eliminating this whole checklist, but just because I didn't have time to print it. So starting February, I want to make sure I have the 4 weeks of each month ready to go in here. And that way it keeps that system flowing without getting hung up on the fact that I need to go print some more. I've also added an affirmations top tab here. This is new for this month. In the Jane's Agenda February Deluxe subscription box, you got these mindfulness and presence affirmations. There's actually 3 cardstocks here. So we have this one, we have the digital detox challenge, and we have the 30 ways to maximize time management and productivity. And I wanted to keep all of these somewhere that I would remember to touch base with those, if not daily, then every other day or so. So again, adding that top tab in with this system was the perfect way to make sure I don't forget about those. And the next thing I have here is the beginning of the hourly planner inserts that we got in the February box. And I wanted to use these to start tracking my time, just to see where my time is going, how I'm using it. Some days I have high hopes and a big checklist and then I don't get a lot done. So this is really helping me not necessarily be accountable, but just know where my time is going. The way my life is, I get interrupted a lot. I have 2 boards that I sit on here in our little tiny town. And then I also have, several part-time jobs. I have my Jordan Essentials business. I have family. I have friends. So I feel like I get interrupted enough that I need to see where those times are that I'm just getting pulled away on other things versus when I can actually focus in and not get interrupted. So that's just something I've started doing. As you can see, I didn't really use it the second half of this week, and that's okay. I feel like, you know, these inserts aren't necessarily something I would use on a regular basis otherwise. So if I just use them as I can to track my hours, it'll still give me the benefit and be a tool to help me analyze my time and be a little more mindful about how I'm focusing in each day. So then we get to the January pages. So I'm going to flip through these and then I'll take this whole chunk out. I just wanted you to kind of see how the whole month had laid out. You know, this is what it looked like at the end of the month, and adding some things in and adding all the school cancellations. I think that was just another layer, is that we had 10 days off of school in the month of January. So it really felt like it was hard to get into regular routines. And then on top of that, because we were all home, like there was several days my husband didn't go to work because the roads were so bad. So that sort of amped up my mom duties. I was cooking 3 meals a day and making sure the laundry was getting done and all that. And we were all just home together. So, you know, if you're a mom, you know how that goes. It just means we have to be flexible and sort of go with the flow as those days happen and we kind of all shift gears and stay home. So, but I don't know if you're like this. I found myself getting a little aggravated because I felt like, okay, we're all home. We have all these days at home. And yet I really struggled with finding motivation to dive into some of those like long-term things I'd been putting off, or those projects, or decluttering. I just felt like it sort of threw me off my game. And so I was just keeping up with the bare minimum. And now that we're into February and we're seeing a little more sunshine, I feel like it's the reset that I needed, because I had a lot of days where I just really struggled to get more than the basics done. And, you know, it just is what it is, and that's okay. And then on the back of this page is this sort of monthly recap page. You can use it for whatever you would want because it's very blank and open. I think what I'm going to do is take a suggestion from Jane at Jane's Agenda. She mentioned how she uses this upper section to evaluate how the month went once it's all over. So I think I'm going to keep up with this system where I have my goals on the sticky notes, and that way I can just move those forward to February, because none of these are done yet. It's just projects and things I'm still working toward. And that'll give me this spot here to also do a little bit of evaluation and reflection on how the month of January went. So that'll be part of closing out my January pages. Then we have the monthly page here. I would like to go in and add a few more memories before I pack this into my long-term storage book. So that'll be part of closing out the month as well. And then I'll just quickly flip so you can kind of see how some of these pages filled up. You know, some at the beginning, I was using these pages more, and I always like having this space where I can really just brain dump. I can use it for a big checklist. I love this weekly overview page. It's just the right amount of an overview of how the week is going to go based on our appointments and regular schedules, but then also a way for me to plan a little bit and then have my weekly habit tracker as well. And then I think mid-month is where things kind of got a little bit off track just because of all these snow days and cancellations. Like, I know towards the end I was really not reaching for my planner as much because there just was a lot happening day to day. And so I was just working on the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So these days, some I used it, some I didn't. And that's fine. I think that's the nice thing about having a daily page in your planner, is that you can just restart the next day and it's no big deal. So let's take these January pages out, and that way my planner will hopefully close again. It really didn't get to the point where it wouldn't close until I added the February daily pages. So now I have those that I will work on putting away after I've done the last little bit of checklist. The other thing I want to do is go through all of the tasks and just make sure there isn't anything that I have forgotten that needs to get migrated forward. Editing Natasha here, and I realized I forgot to show you what I do with the previous month's inserts. So for now, what I'm going to do is start my new 2024 archive planner. So this is the cover from the January deluxe subscription box from Jane's Agenda, which I think will work great as my overall cover for the year since it has the year on it. These are some discs. I think these are Happy Planner discs, and these are just the largest ones I had on hand that weren't being used. So for now, this is what I'm going to use to start collecting my finished months. Now, for today, what I'm going to do is put all of January in here, but I may go through as the months go on and clean out some of those blank daily pages that really didn't get used. I like to keep my planners as kind of a memory keeper. I don't do a ton of like decorating or pictures or anything, but for me, I think it's just interesting to look back and see what I was doing day to day. So if there's pages where I really feel like there's not much information there and it's not worth keeping, then I'll go through and clean those out later into the year. Then I have my 1 year worth of inserts collected into an archive planner, and this just sits on the side of my desk on a little bookshelf so that each month I can tuck those in. And I do find it helpful to go back sometimes when I'm planning, let's say January or February now. I can look at last year's and see if there's anything I forgot or any important dates that I want to remember. So it can be helpful that way. Now, if you don't have room to store them year after year, and I may get to that point too where I don't have room to store that many, then it might be something I have to rethink, or I might just go through and purge the oldest. I haven't reached that problem yet, so I haven't come up with my solution yet. But for now, this is my solution, is just to have an annual collection of the archived inserts from that year. So now you can see how I've chosen to use the inserts from the February subscription box from Jane's Agenda. And then I have my February calendar. I am loving the forward planning that I did at the beginning of the year, and I'm continuing to keep up with that. So anytime I have an event, I drop it in to the monthly page, and that way, as the months and weeks go along, it's just easy to open up and see exactly what's coming and what I need to do. I like having this little clear butterfly page finder that came from the January box, so I'm just going to keep that in there and continue to use that to mark my monthly pages. And then I've started this, but I can transfer some of those things now from January. I got my monthly personal number page set up. So this is from the Louise Hay Colors and Numbers book. So I'll link that below as well. And I just did a real simple setup for February memories. My weekly overview page. So you can see this week was just really a lot, and I didn't get in here and use it at all, and that's okay. I might go back and update it. I might not. It's just kind of one of those things. You can see we had dentist appointment, doctor visits, just a lot happening. Here I started to take notes on a meeting I was sitting in and then never even used it. So I'll probably just tuck that back in my blank notes section. So here we are. Yesterday was the catalog launch, and then here's Sunday. So it's time to start planning for the new week, and basically everything else in here is the same. I'm definitely happy with my planner setup, and it seems like I'm just continuing to fine-tune the system and make things work for me. And that is all I can ask for out of a planner. So hopefully now it does close, so I could probably go through and see if there's any other pages I need to take out, but at least I know it closes and I'm ready to finish up January, start February, and just hope for the best. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope that was helpful for you and you enjoyed getting to see how my planner is looking these days. I'd love to hear in the comments down below, how was your January? How are you feeling going into February? I think it's normal that we all have these ups and downs, and it's just encouraging to hear that I'm not the only one. But, you know, we take each day as it comes and do the best we can. Some days are better than others. That's kind of how life is, isn't it? But I love having my planner as a little moment to sort of gather my thoughts, plan ahead, think about what needs to be done. And of course, adding these beautiful elements helps me feel excited to open the pages and take a look each day. So other than that, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button down below. As I mentioned, I'll have Jane's Agenda and Jordan Essentials links in the description box, so you can use my personal links to shop either of those companies. Thanks again for joining me. Have a good one, and I'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.